Because this is personal dignity. And you don't want to destroy someone's dignity by doing all the oughts, and then they feel reluctant to do it. Now we've got problems. So if you want to, just ignore this subject on time management. Now here's the next one. Step down to something easier. The guy's in sales and he says, oh, I want to own the company. Finally owns the company. Now he's got no time to play golf. He said, when I was in sales, I was making big money playing golf 3 days a week. Heck with this owning something. Heck with managing. My life was never my own after I started to manage. I'm going back to sales. See, this is the key. If you're getting too pressed, you might consider stepping down to something with a little easier time pressure. Little girl says to her mother, Daddy comes home, brings his briefcase and pats me on the head and says hello, disappears and works on his papers. How come my daddy doesn't play with me? And her mother said, look, your daddy loves you very much, but he's so busy at work, he can't get it all done, he has to bring it home. He loves you, but that's why he can't play with you. And the little girl said, why don't they just put him in a slower group? Remember when I said some things I went for cost me too much? So reconsider. Next key to time management. And that's work longer and harder. But see, there's a limit to that. I almost lost my health the first year. I went so crazy about personal development and achievement. I just went bonkers. You know, I told you I was skinny, but at the end of that first year, I was a walking shadow. And then it suddenly occurred to me, what if I got rich and too ill to spend it? I mean, that was a shocker. So I started, developing a little more reasonable. Because I said, if 12 hours won't do it, I'll work 14. If that won't do it, I'll work 18. I mean, how many hours it takes. And sure enough, it cost me too much. So see, working longer and harder for some might be appropriate. Now here's the next note to make. 5 years from now, you will arrive. The question is where? If you keep up your present disciplines and keep up the present pace that you're on, where will you be in 5 years? Boy, it's easy to say, hey, I haven't really thought about that. So now make this note. In 5 years, here's the probability. You will either arrive at a well-designed destination or an undesigned destination. And I promise you, 5 years from now, you really don't want to arrive at an undesigned destination. Because you may very well wind up wearing what you don't want to wear, driving what you don't want to drive, living where you don't want to live, maybe doing what you don't want to do. Simply because you didn't design a better destination. Now, sometimes after we've lived a few years now, to repair our mistakes and get back on track seems like a tough job. If you start early, the fortune belongs to you. If you start early. All fortunes that are...
That's the thing about being an artist of such caliber that you're remembered for hundreds of years after your death. It is back-breaking work. It is a blinding amount of effort. It isn't about natural talent. That myth that some people are born with something that we celebrate so much is just that, a myth. You're born a lump of flesh. You can't hold your own head up. You may have predispositions, but that is a long way from actually crafting your ability and to the point where it looks like magic. And that's the beauty of artistry, isn't it? That it's so unbelievable that you're more willing to believe that it was God-given, that they were anointed with it, than that they just worked their ass off.
The reason why I'm having such an easy time washing clothes and cooking and ironing, you know why? Because nothing is as important to me as my marriage. And I would rather be happy. I would rather be happy than to say I ain't no punk. Make me a punk. I want to be a punk. A happy punk. For real, no. A friend of mine, he came to my house and I didn't have a mop. And so I was on the ground and I was mopping the floor with a towel. And he says, E.T. the hip hop priest, you're on the ground and you're mopping? I said, yeah. He says, your wife got you whipped. I said, you didn't know? You just found that out? Been doing a terrible job. I'm sorry. I am whipped. And after 23 years, you should be. And if you're not, it's a problem. So listen to me. There are those of you who said, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be the best at this company, right? But your value system says you believe in sleep more than you believe in grinding. Your value system says you are a consumer and not a producer. That you're spending more money than you're making. Why? Because you're a consumer, but you're reading all the books and you're saying everything the books are saying, but those books are not in alignment with your values. And if you're going to go to the next level, your values are going to have to change. I wish I could tell you that if you just keep going, it's going to get lighter, but that's not the truth. The truth is you got to find something within.
I'm telling you to keep going when you face opposition. I'm telling you to keep going when you face adversity. I'm telling you to keep going because
it's when you have nothing left. It's when you depleted all your money, when all your energy gone, when you have nothing left, that's when it's showtime.
You have these dreams. Dreams without goals remain dreams. Dreams without goals. Yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, minute by minute goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams. And they ultimately fuel disappointment.
But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit.
Goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency.
If you want to be like most people, then what you got to do is figure out how to survive. If you want to lead, you got to thrive. No matter how great life is, take it to the next level. Find the way to thrive on the very things that stop other people in the tracks. Thrive on what produces fear inside you and in other people. Thrive on something that you envision that you have a higher purpose for. Thrive by being decisive. Thrive by taking massive action.
And not necessarily because of their performance, but because of what's happening in the economy. At a time when there are challenges, more so than ever before, in personal relationships, we look at what's happening on a crime level and what's happening with our youth, that many times I'm sure that we've all taken time just to stop and reflect. Many times when we hear what's happening in the news or read the newspapers, where's all of this leading to? What's going on here? And so I think that now more than ever, we must begin to look at what are the things that we can do that would put us on some firm footing in life, that will enable us to do some things and use some powers that we have, that many of us go through life never ever discovering that we have those things going for us. And part of that, I believe, is knowing what it is your life worth. What is it that gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose? Because once you find that, it puts you in your power place. See, if you know what your life work is, I encourage you to start working on it. If you can't do it all at one time, do just a little bit of it. And if you don't know what it is that you showed up to do, if you don't know why you're here, I encourage you to find out what your purpose is here. What is the meaning of your life?